What's going on, guys? This is Chris Weidman, and I appreciate you coming to my channel and checking out the latest episode of my podcast of Won't Back Down. I've got a great show planned for today, but before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to my show's presenting sponsor, BioXcellerator. BioXcellerator is the world leader in stem cell therapy and regenerative medical research. Through the use of their powerful golden stem cells, they help patients heal from joint and orthopedic injuries, autoimmune disorders, spine and disc damage, and neurological trauma. I just got back from BioXcellerator in Medellin, Colombia, and honestly, they took care of me like first class. It was an amazing experience from all the different sites of my body that I got injected. To hyperbaric chambers, massage, the great food, great people. Overall, just an amazing experience. Highly recommend you guys checking them out. My body already feels so much better. I just want to thank BioXcellerator once again for helping me create this show, Won't Back Down, which also is available on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. We are very similar like that. I don't know. I feel like you and me both, I don't know. I don't know if we do a lot of the research on our own, but I think what we do good at, and I learned a lot of this from you, is bringing very smart people who are experts in that field around us, and we learn from them. So that's we steal their research by talking to them, as opposed to doing. Am I right with that? Is that you don't really do all that type of research on your own? You're not reading all these books and figuring it out on your own, are you?
No. I do have smart people around me, but it doesn't matter because I figured out I'm the problem, because it's in the journey, it's in the chasing of it that I live, because it doesn't matter if it's vegan. You could tell me we're eating wood, nothing but wood for the next, it's the best thing for you. And I would get on that bus. I would literally be like, really? And I would call Steph. I'd tell Steph, I'd be like, we're eating wood, man. Get the kids, tell them we're going to start eating wood, man. Everybody's eating wood. And it's good for you. And it's an escape for me, because it's something different that I go, okay, I get a fresh start. You feel like you get a fresh start. Like, this is it, man. We're all eating wood. We're going to be ripped. We're going to be healthy. We're going to look good. And it's in that fresh start where you think I can change my life and be great. So I want to change. And the truth of it is, I don't want to suffer what we already know is just to eat normally in tempered amounts, little, you can be fine and do everything is there for you. We know what to do. We just don't want to do it. We want to look and we want to be taken by the hand by somebody else and tell them this is the new thing that's going to work.
It makes me think you honestly, and I'm similar, and there's lots of pitfalls with it, but being open-minded, what I mean? You are so open-minded to other people's point of view, and you can get sold easy, and then you're going to go gun-ho into it. You know what I mean? But
yes. You're just like me, man. You're just like me because you do. You can get gullible, and you're a sweet kid, and you just want to do the best. You want to make it the greatest, and you don't want to hurt feelings on somebody else. It's once you buy in, though, you buy in, and you're like, this is it.
Yeah.
And then you want to get other people. So it's you try to sell to everybody. And when somebody says, I'm not into all meat or all this, you're like, why not? What are you into? And then you go to them. You're like, all right, let's do what you're doing. It's horrible.
That's exactly how I am. Once I get into a topic, I have to sell it to everybody. I have to, because it's making it more legit to me. It's making me understand it better. Right. It is.
Well, it's confirming it to yourself. You're saying am I right in doing this? And when someone else says, I'm doing it too, you go, I made the right decision. Yes, right. We are doing it together. We are smart.
I can't remember. I don't know if we did the vegan together, but I was into the Game Changers and the Netflix film, and I started watching all the podcasts of the guy who did the Game Changers. He was a UFC guy. He was on the Ultimate Fighter show or something. And I remember getting everybody I know to change their life and start being a vegan. Listen, this is the meat is acidic and could be cancerous and all these different things. Now fast forward to now I'm on this animal-based diet, eating all this meat.
Right.
This is legit, Kevin. This is the one. This is the one.
Right.
We're meant to be eating meat. Hunter-gatherers eat meat. The Hazda tribe in Africa is the only hunting-gathering tribe left on this planet, and all they eat is meat, fruit, and eggs. That is it.
Do I go from being a vegan in one day to just eating nothing but meat?
I think you have to. I just had eggs. It's all the stuff you love. You could have as many eggs as you want. The only reason why you don't have eggs all day because there's not as much protein in the eggs as compared to the red fatty meat. So that's why you need a lot of red fatty meat. And there's more nutritious value in the fat and all the like the ligaments and the organs of the meat. So
I can't do it. This is insane. This is exactly on the other side of it. They're telling me eggs are bad. Where the hell do we stand with eggs? Nobody knows where we're with eggs.
Eggs are so good for you. Listen,
they say they're horrible.
You think God put those on the planet for nothing, just to sit there and have babies?
No, you're right. I think God put everything on a planet. I think it's like the problems with us. We don't need another grown man to tell us how to eat. I think we know what's good. At this point, we know what's good and what's bad. We know that like healthy plants in a lot of are good. And maybe meat. No,
I don't know.
Plants are not.
So now that this is, I know, listen, I felt the same way, but apparently
veggies, by the way,
vegetables
if you discover something with veggies,
vegetables are toxic. It's a fact. Ask the vegans, they'll admit it. They'll try to say that you could wash them off, but you can't. You can't wash them off. These toxic.
You don't need it. You don't need any veggies.
Plants were the first thing on earth, right? Boom. He put the trees. He put the trees and the leaves. Boom, they're there.
I don't think it was said exactly like that, by the way, but yes.
I'm quoting scripture.
Yes.
Exactly. So for them to survive, they had to create defense mechanisms so they don't get eaten by the animals and eaten by human beings. So they created these toxins to stop people from eating them. And over the last 1,000 years or so, we started eating these. And people started dying from all sorts of cancerous diseases that never were there before. People were happier. People are healthy, no obesity. It's the vegetables that have been killing us. That's what it is.
That's
according to Dr. Paul Saladino. And that's what you got to do.
Oh my gosh.
That is it. And it's so good. It's, vegan is terrible. It's forced. It's forced eating vegan. I did vegan in 6 months. I loved it. I mean, I thought I liked it, but I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. I liked it, and you're right. And then I didn't like it. I felt like, I remember because I did it for Boom. I did it like to try to get in shape for Boom. I did for a year. And I felt good for a long.
And you look great. You lost crazy weight fat.
But I wasn't, but I was still like, I was like soft fat. Like you can tell when you're in shape and you're really, you know what I'm saying? I felt good. I was like running a lot, and I remember the woman who was helping me with it she kept saying, you're never going to want to go back to meat again. And I'm like, really? And she goes, you're never going to want to, you'll never, you watch this, watch how it changes your inside, everything, your core, your being, everything. You're never going to want to go back. And I remember finishing the movie and she goes, see, how do you feel now? And I crushed this. Like, I was like, I need meat immediately is how I feel. And I did, I crushed this steak.
Yeah, I'm not going to stay on this too much longer, but this is pretty much when I eat this way, I honestly have never felt better in my life. I say, give it 3 weeks of your life. Give it 3 weeks. And if you feel like crap, if you feel like it's acidic, if you feel like your joints hurt more or any of that stuff, just stop. But I guarantee you'll lose tons of weight.
Sure you will.
You're going to lose tons of weight and you're going to feel better than ever. And what I eat is this: tons of eggs in the morning with tons of fruit, as much as I want. So I have I just had 7 eggs. It
makes zero sense to me. Here's what it is. Because every restriction diet or I don't want to call it diet, way of eating or doing of anything will work because you're restricting. That's what it is. You can
not restricting. Do you really want to eat vegetables?
No, I don't. If you find a way out, get me out. If you find a way out, get me out.
This is your door, bro. Kick the door open. No more vegetables. That's it. And that you can still have avocados and olives and stuff like that because that's not a vegetable, by the way. I learned that's a fruit. So it feels like you're eating a vegetable, but it's not.
Do you eat no vegetables?
Cauliflower, terrible for you. There's different levels of toxicity in each one of these plants. And there's like a whole chart that will tell you the toxicity levels in each one of these things. But basically, I eat the eggs, I eat the fruit. Lunchtime and dinner time is literally grass-fed, grass-finished ribeyes from local farm. As much as of the meat as I possibly can have. For my weight, I'm like 215. You want to have like 2.5 pounds of meat a day. And then you could have your eggs as well. So you get a crazy amount of protein. And if you don't want to eat the liver and the organ meat, you get a supplement where you have like desecrated like testicles and all that good stuff. It's so good for you. If you go to these hunter tribes, the thing that they value the most, the hunter gathering tribes, is these organ meat, the organ meats that has the most nutritious value of anything on this planet.
At a certain point, I'm like, I'm going to eat what I want and check out. And then I just check out. Because for what? What are you eating for? Tell me what. Let's just go through it. Let's just go through it, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's go. Because I'm going to keep saying it. And then what?
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. So what's going to happen? So you're going to start eating, you're going to eat deer nuts, right? Right?
If I could get them. But I have them encapsulated. I have them encapsulated in pills, so I don't have to taste it.
That's the way to do it.
I don't want to taste it. But
that's the natural way.
Culturally, like I wasn't brought up eating it, so for me it's weird, But it's like somewhere else in the world they probably love it.
What are you doing, Skylar? What are you doing,
Skylar?
What?
What's up, Skylar? Come on, I want to see your face. Say hi.
What's up, guys?
Skylar. Skylar's got a girlfriend.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh my gosh, I like that's their office. I like it. It's nice.
Yeah, part of it. It's like the nook.
All right. Yeah, don't worry. We're not going to edit this part out. You were too loud. That's hysterical. Keep your voice down when you're on this podcast with me, please.
Yes, lower.
All right, hang on. Where were we? We were talking about, going through what am I going to do? What's the
testicles?
Doing it? Oh, testicles.
Okay, yeah. So you're eating, or whatever animal, you're a beaver.
Beaver. That's good for cowboy hats, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know, man. So then what is what I'm saying? And then what? So you're going to eat this stuff, right? And then, what are you hoping to get from it?
Longevity, joint health, what? Energy, no crashes at all. Like you look a little tired right now. What'd you eat this morning? Look, your hands resting, your head's resting on your hands. All right, now you look better.
I have this anyway, but go ahead.
There's no energy dumps. No energy jumps because you're not putting you're not putting all those processed sugars into your body. You're having all natural stuff that was meant for us to eat, that's been on this planet forever. And it honestly makes you feel so good. We're meant to be eating meat, man. We're hunters.
So you're just eating meat
and fruit and eggs. It's considered the animal-based diet. Anything that comes from an animal and then on top of that, fruit. So you could have cheese. You like cheese. Tons of honey. You can have as much honey as you could possibly ever want. Does nothing to your blood work like you would expect.
Really?
Yes, we're meant to be eating honey. What the Hadza tribe? This guy went and visited the last hunter-gathering tribe. When they see a bee's nest and they can get honey, they take the whole thing down. They eat everything. It's the best thing you could possibly have.
Are you sick of it? Be honest. Are you sick of meat?
No, I thought I would be. I'm not like a big meat guy, honestly. I'm not naturally like I know you like it. I'm more of a pasta guy and pizza guy. I know you like that too, but
you can't have any of that. So you can't have
that. No, you can't have that. No, and no alcohol.
You're never having that again.
This is where I'm at.
Okay.
I did it for a month straight.
Whoa. So you're telling me you're never going to have pizza or pasta again?
No,
from Long Island.
I had it
from Long Island.
I had it last night.
You're Long Island. You can live in South Carolina all you want. Do your thing.
Yeah, there's some good pizza.
You're from Long Island, and you're going to tell me you're never having a piece of pizza again.
I had bagels from a Long Island deli out here in South Carolina the other day, and I had pizza last night. So I'm just being very.
Pizza last night from where?
And I feel terrible. There's a place called Luigi's around here that one of our friends got it from. It was good. It was all right. Had some pasta as well. Some carbonara, and there's chicken parmesan. I ate disgusting last night. I was good for 2 days before that though, and then I went off. Listen, this is the way I see it. So I did it for a month. I honestly never felt better. Now it's my own issues that I got to be able to stay more consistent with it, and that's the plan. But if I do go off and cheat, okay, I have a cheat meal here and there, whatever. I'm going to go back on this diet because this is what makes me feel the best. So just like you go on eating clean or eating vegan or whatever diet that you're into at the time, you're going to obviously make mistakes, just like we talked about. And I spoke about it with Skylar yesterday. The issue with you and everybody else, including me, that we always have to deal with is when you're driving on that highway and all of a sudden, boom, one of your tires go flat, right? You pull over to the side of the road. Do you get out of the car and just start puncturing every other tire? Or do you fix that tire and get back on that highway and drive drive strong.
You know me.
Pop those yeah. I know. Yeah.
I pop them all. I do, but that's the sickness, because I've always been come from behind, like, like I've always, like, if I've done it now, I'll start Monday and I'll do it. Still got 3 months, 2 months, whatever it is. I'm always that guy. I've always been that guy, pushing homework till Sunday night, Monday morning, doing it before I go in there. I'll get it done. And a lot of times it's worked for me, and that's the problem. So it's like, you think it can work and it doesn't work anymore. That's, so it's got to be like consistent. I got to be consistent. And I think you got to be, if it's something that you can't sustain always, and you literally can't sustain just meat. And I don't know if you can.
Yes, you can. This guy's been doing it for like 4 years.
So you're never having potatoes again. Mashed potatoes are never in your.
If you're being super strict about it, but my point is this: I don't think you could go on anything strict that you feel like is restrictive. Like, if you need to have a bagel or a slice of pizza here and there, I don't think it's the end of the world. But you just got to get back on to the diet. You don't pop the rest of the tires. You just get back on. For me, I'm not the type of guy, I don't think you are either, that's going to be on this diet for 4 years straight. Because if you did, it would be amazing, and you probably feel the best in your life, but you feel maybe mental health wise, you wouldn't feel as good. I don't know. Because you need to, like, every once in a while have that cheat meal. You need to have that slice of pizza, have that bagel, and then you can get back on the diet.
What does it tell you, man? Like, what does it tell you? You think that's, so one side is definitely right and one side is wrong. So it's like either all meat, like, and then everybody who says everything against meat, like, because if meat is all the way you're supposed to eat it, just meat, why is the meat just eating plants? Do you know what I'm saying?
Why are the cows eating the grass?
Gorillas, why are they
eating the banana? Banana's a fruit.
Okay.
The grass, I actually asked this question, and there is an answer to it that makes a lot of sense. I just can't remember it right now. It's not a bad thing. As long as they're eating, that's what cows are meant to eat. They're meant to walk around and eat grass.
Yeah, but same with gorillas, same with all these things. Like,
you think we're meant to walk around and eat grass?
Hey, I want out of this thing, man. I don't want to.
We're hunters. Huh? We're hunters. Our eyesight gets better when we're hungry because we're meant to hunt when we're hungry.
Yes. Dude, listen to me. I want a way out. Get me out. I'm asking for a way out. You think I want vegetables other than cream spinach? I never want to eat another vegetable again, ever.
I'm putting you on
through a salad.
Yeah, what we're doing, me and you are going to get on the phone call with Paul Saladino, Dr. Saladino, and we're going to ask him all these questions, and I want him to answer it for us. And
I've been down this road. I'm so flipped. I swear to God, it's like a bad relationship. I keep going back to it. I keep going back. And I get...
Bro, you've been in such good shape. Like, all right, let's just so people know. Kevin, he looks like, he's the funny comedian. He's, sometimes overweight, sometimes not. He is one of the most athletic dudes I know. And he's very extreme with his workouts and everything like that. Could get in crazy shape and then falls off harder than anybody I know. And then it's hard to even pull him back in. You can't even find him. He's gone. Like, he's eating. He's all of a sudden doing like a YouTube show where it's like, how many tacos can we eat? Remember we did that? Or how many burgers can we eat when we go through McDonald's? Yes. Whatever happened to that?
Yes. I still have it. I got to bring it up. By the way, you know why I haven't put it out yet? Because I didn't get in shape yet. I have to get in shape. The ending of the thing has to be me in shape.
And this is like 3 years ago.
3 years ago. 3 years ago. Yes.
That is hysterical. What are you doing right now for working out? What's your routine?
Well, I have everything in my basement. You know that. Like, I got every new thing. I keep, I just, because it's the same way I am with diets. I'm always looking for that new thing. Like, once I get this, once I get that watch, once I get the thing and I can track it, that's the problem, is tracking it. Then I can do it right way. But it never works out. So right now I'm doing, I love always like the fight specific stuff,
Yeah.
So I have a reflex bag. I love hitting that. I love hitting them. I have some good bags that I finally bought. The Thai bags, it sounds wimpy, but the Thai bag, they just kill your shins all the time. They're so hard.
Oh,
it's like you go down in the morning. Well, it's kind of hard. And it's like in the morning when it's cold and you go, I just don't want to kick this thing. And even when you throw in like a mid kick, it's always like it's not the angle I want. So I put that fat one on the top where it goes down a little bit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
I love it, man. And I go easy with it. I just go easy with it. And I get into good workouts with it.
And you're doing
I like that a lot.
Like shin conditioning with that, you feel like? Is that why you're
no,
hard on the bottom?
No. I don't know. I don't do it. I don't want it hard on the bottom. It just kind of it's harder.
Yeah.
And it's being wimpy. These guys are hitting banana trees out, like crushing things. And I'm like saying, oh, it's cold in the morning and I don't want to hit my shin on a bag.
I mean, it is hard. It is hard. It is hard. What else are you doing for workouts?
I do Derek Manji, jiu-jitsu. Dude.
Yeah.
I love him. He's the greatest of all time.
He really is. And I feel like we should talk about him a little bit. Cop in Suffolk County, has a gym, Monster BJJ in Long Island. And was it Smithtown?
It's in Smithtown. And
such a good dude. I'm so happy you actually stayed with somebody. You know what I mean? You stayed connected with him. You're still going with him. I know you've taken time off, but you kind of get back to that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. He's the greatest. You told me he's going to fit you. Like he's like the greatest teacher for you. And he's such a motivational guy and a good guy. And he's awesome at jiu-jitsu. He's a sick dude. I mean, like he's so strong and his feet are like hands. It's ridiculous. He's like,
his feet are hands. Like he is like a gorilla on his back, just pulling you in with his feet.
Yes.
But great, he got a motto. I heard he brings down a motto. You just crush him. Poor Amato.
No. He's the best. He knows what he's got to do with me. Like it's like you just got to come there and just lay there and just let me, work you. We had that constant battle. He's tough, and then he's got to work on me. By the way, he fixes me after I'm injured every.
He is good. Yeah, so he's a physical therapist, and he's like does all the chiropractor adjustment stuff. He could do needling. He knows all those techniques, and he's constantly learning. He really is great. But it's funny because I just imagine like you really, when you get into it, you are training to be a professional fighter in your head. Yes or no?
Oh, every time, of course. I still feel like I got a shot. Like I'm going to be like, hey man, be the first guy in the UFC at 60. Do that one. You make it by then. If we get in shape now, we start now by 60, you can do it. And then you go, well, let's look at this. What experience fighting have you had before? And I go, absolutely none. I've had none. So it's like,
yeah, karate tournaments and right. You did karate tournaments and you did football in college.
I did football. Yeah. But that's not fighting.
I mean, it's just toughness, right? Football players are tough.
Yeah.
Trying to get something here.
It's a love-hate relationship with it, by the way. I don't think it's good. I got a concussion and a couple concussions in college football. It's rough, man. It's rough.
And then you went on to fighting. You probably have had some concussions since you started training and fighting too, right? Who's knocked you out?
This is the funniest thing ever. Ryan Parsons, right?
Yeah.
We were training.
Parsons is, if people don't know, Chael Sonnen's manager, and also he was a fighter. Was he a fighter or just a wrestler?
No, he was a wrestler.
He was a wrestler. Yeah.
Yes, great guy. And he was training with me. We were with Boss, training Boss for one of Boss's fights back in the day, and we're at Boss's gym, and we're sparring a little bit here and there, and we go, hey, let's touch each other, hit a little bit here, feel it how it feels, and I go, but let's not, he even said, he goes, let's not go too hard. He's smaller than me too, so and we're sparring for 2 seconds, and he rocks me. And I get like with an uppercut, and I'm like, whoa, I was like completely stunned. So I go after him, and I'm just drilling him, beating it. And I'm going, it's a hard session. I mean, like really hard, Yeah. Anyway, we recorded it. And I looked back at the this is the one, it was taped by the tape, we put the tape in. Dude, he didn't even touch. I went like my chin rocked back. He didn't even touch me. I don't even think he was trying to throw a punch. I think he was just trying to cover his own head. And that's when I knew, I go, I can't be in this sport. I can't. I got wobbled by a guy trying to cover his own face. I don't know. There's been a couple moments, No,
you're tougher than you try to lead on. Listen, you're trying to be that funny guy right now, but no, you are pretty badass. Let's talk about Longo and you sparring. So Longo, obviously, I feel like most people who watch the show know who Longo is. He's my head coach and owns a gym in Long Island. Awesome dude. I don't know, how was he, like 63 now? Maybe 62, 63. But he's been a stand-up fighter his whole life. You know, he hasn't actually had any fights, but he's, you know, sparred with some of the best guys and whatever. So here comes Kevin James, the famous actor, you know, and he's just going to like work with him a little bit. In the first round, I think it was like the first thing that was thrown. You hit him with a left uppercut to a right hand. And Longo says he goes into survival mode. He said he goes, holy shit, I'm going to get knocked out by this guy. I'm in here trying to work with him. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy crap, this guy's good. This guy's good. And he's looking at you in the eyes and you're like a bull, just seeing red coming after him. And he left the spot. He finally got through it. He said, thank God. He goes, I just was hoping that he just wanted to stop soon. And he came out with the biggest black eye. It was hysterical.
But let me say something. You're first of all, he rocked me. Okay. This didn't start with me coming at him. You don't remember this? I was like, what the hell? I come into a gym. It was the same thing with Merab. Remember, Merab didn't know I was even, he didn't even know I was an actor. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? But let me talk about Longo first. Longo first, he starts up with me. I don't know. I'm coming to you for help. Like, I love the sport. Yeah. I'm not being fake humble and saying I want to rock, you know. I don't care. I'm saying I don't want to get rocked, but I want to learn
you're dangerous too, though. You have to. You are strong. You're athletic, and you've been now fighting in the gym for 15 years. So you can't come in like you're this amateur, you know, celebrity guest. That's just kind of.
I am amateur. I'm also pushing 300 pounds, and I'm out of shape, and I'm in my 50s. You know, so it's like, yes, let's move around and touch each other and do that thing. He lights me. He rocked my head back. He like rocked me back. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? This is Longo with the hair flowing and he's like throwing jabs and moving around. And I'm like, 100%. I'm in survival mode. That's all it was. So it's like, I either have to come at you. And by the way, I gassed in 8 seconds. I'm a terror for 7 seconds. And then I got to step back and then I'm on my bicycle. So,
oh my God,
that was, I caught him. I don't remember catching him, but I did catch him. That was fun. And it was fun to see a black eye on him for your fight. Remember he was, I loved it. He had to corner you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That was great. But he's the greatest guy in the world. And I love him too for stand up. He's amazing. The greatest. Really but Merab, you brought me into your camp.
Hey, Merab, the machine. He's incredible. He's ranked 6th in the world right now. He's doing awesome. I don't know.
I know he is. He's insane.
He's the problem.
But nobody.
Go into that. Go ahead.
You bring me in to I train with you guys, and I guess it was a camp for you.
That was a good time.
I don't know who was it, man.
Was it a camp? Were we in camp, or we started doing a routine where we do like the foot ladder drills, the foot drills on the ladder, and then we do some kickboxing drills, and then we spar. And we had a whole team in there. We had all the pro guys, all the amateur guys, and you were there with me.
Yes. And it was just running through the thing. It was like, I loved it because it was a consistent thing. It was like a place to go every day to try different things, do workouts, to push each other. And if I miss a day, I would come back. Well, one day I missed, and then I came back, and there was a new guy, and I guess it was Merab. I hadn't seen him before. He didn't know me. And we were in the cage, and I had headgear on. He didn't have headgear.
He doesn't want headgear.
No. Are you kidding me? But he doesn't see me. He doesn't know who the hell I am. I'm a new guy. And then we start drilling, and this little guy starts kicking me in the head and pushing and knocking me back. I'm like, what the? I go, hold. I'm trying to tell him, hey, man, I'm an actor. You didn't say anything. So I push him. I got to get the film on this thing. I'm like, I got to protect myself. I will do it because we went at it, and it wasn't good for me. It wasn't good at all.
It is a tough position because a part of you does want to go. You do want to go 100%, but then the other part of you is like, do I really need to be getting punched in the head right now?
No, I don't.
I'm a comedian. I'm an actor. I need my brains.
That's it. It's that constant draw in. I think all athletes and men, like, you want to be the toughest guy in the room. You want to be able to hang with these pros. So it's like you do the workout with them a little bit and you do a movie about it, but then like, you really want to commit to what it's going to be like when they're, and it's like, no, I don't. Like that's my answer. My answer is no. Do I want to see stars and that, liquid coming out, the hot blood feeling that I've had, like, and tasting it all? No, I don't like that feeling. I don't like that shock. I don't like being on the ground with somebody on top of me and I've got a tap and I haven't done anything. Like they didn't even do a move on me. And I'm like, I'm out because I can't breathe anymore. So it's like, I don't like the feeling of it.
Yeah, but
I want to test myself.
But afterwards, I think you feel good. It's almost like going in an ice bath. Who likes to go into the ice bath? But it's that right. Suffering that you get through, and you're like, you know what? You constantly put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, and you keep growing.
How about you on my show? You were out of your element. You were so nervous. I loved it, man. Gosh. By the way. I loved you. And by the way, you pissed me off because you did such a good job on that show as an actor. I wasn't thinking about you. I was so pissed like that you made this look easy. Like that made me feel worse about myself. That's how I do. I compare myself to everybody else. I was like, man, if he can do it and I know him and he was scared, I wanted you to be so scared in front of that audience. I wanted you to eat it so bad in a fun way. We would always make you look good, but I wanted you to feel that pressure. And it didn't really come for you. You were smooth. And you were with Sandler too, right? I mean, you did a great job.
I made it like it was a fight, to be honest. I felt like I was in the locker room. When I was in the locker room, so I'm with you, we're close friends. I could talk to you. I could laugh with you. I could kind of tell you I'm nervous or tell you like, I'm sucked. Can you help me? And, it wasn't like I was hiding and trying to pretend like I'm this amazing actor. And then I had to like go prove it. I was able to be, at least honest with you. But then Kevin, you tell Adam Sandler is going to be in this show too, and you're having him, fly in, and it's my first time ever acting, and I have tons of lines. It's not like I had like one liner, here and there. It was, I had a lot of lines in the first time ever in front of a live audience, and I have to do it with Kevin James and Adam Sandler. Now I was comfortable with because you kind of knew me already. Like I didn't have to like, try to, be somebody I wasn't. But Adam Sandler's now flying in. And I'm like, I know you're telling me he's a good, I know he's one of your best friends and you're close with him and everything. He's a good guy. But I'm like, I don't know, man. He's been acting for like 30 something years. He's been famous forever. And he's flying out here to do a show and he's going to have to do lines with me. Guy who has no idea what he's doing. And I was like, man, I was so nervous, but he was so cool. He was a man. But going back to being in the locker room, I had like, I had the little dressing room that, I was getting ready and I was going over my lines and it was
I love it. Hold on a second. On stage, you at the show, you're calling backstage the locker room. I can't, that's hilarious. Your locker room, your dressing room. Yes.
I'm in the locker room pretty much. And I'm just like, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, I can't believe this. Like, there's like 20 minutes before I'm heading out and I'm getting highs where I'm confident with myself. I got this. And all of a sudden the lows come. I'm like, I don't know. I just got to get the hell out of here. And then you're like constantly battling back and forth. And that's kind of like how it is in a fight. But I'm like, I got to do, I'm trying to do my best. And it was such a great experience, and I will say, I do think I did good, but it was because, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not the professional here, but like with acting, it's about being comfortable. Like just me and you are talking now, but on camera, in front of other people, right? It's kind of like having a normal conversation, but in front of other people and on camera, which is harder than, what people would think. And remember your lines.
Exactly. The difference is this. First of all, that is very funny. You can tell you're an athlete when you're talking about backstage, your dressing room is the locker room. And that's like, and then I'm an actor. That's why it's like, I feel like, it's like me going to you saying, hey, at the gym, are we going to do rehearsal today at the gym? Are the guys going to come down for some rehearsal? No, it's practice. We're gonna
doing what are they, the table talk or the table reads? Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. That's the difference between it. So I can help you, and you're at your best when you're confident in yourself, not overconfident where you're dangerous, you're letting other things like that can affect you happen, but like where you're confident enough to know what you can do, you're gonna react better in fighting or in acting, right? When you have a confidence, when you can go, I know what to do. I can be comfortable in the silence. I can sit here. I can move. I can change direction. I can do whatever it is. you had that, and I think you got that to that point when Sandler was there and you talked to him for 5 minutes, and with me and the audience, and that first take went, and it was like wasn't bad. You get in, you completely settle in, and it's very similar to a fight, I would imagine.
100%.
The problem with a fight is, I'm always like, you got to be confident. I would be so nervous that you know that you're going to react, and you're going to fight better if you're calm, right? And you're more confident. And that's why people try to get, like in a face-off, that you're trying to get the other guy emotional, right? To try to get him to move, to be, because that you're not your best. The problem is, you acting, when you're an athlete and you come into acting and you relax, you just get the benefit. If I was to go into a fight and just go, okay, I'm going to be confident, relax, that's cool. Now you're relaxed. You're still going to get your ass kicked. That's the difference. Like that as an actor, you understand what I'm saying? I'm going to still, because I don't have the experience, and I don't have the training.
Depends who you're matched up with. Listen, and then also the counter to that is, how do you get confidence? You can't just fake confidence. Confidence comes through hard work, right? And like reps, and like really knowing that you did everything that it took to be prepared for this moment. But when I'm acting for the first time ever, and I'm, okay, I worked hard for a week, I'm studying those lines and I'm doing the best I possibly can. I'm going to remember them. And still somehow I feel like I have a disease. Like, I want to say the words exactly the way they're put on paper, but for some reason I have to change something in those lines every single time. I don't know. I have like an issue with that. Right. And I'm like, yeah, so how do I had to create a fake confidence. Like I just knew that if I was confident going out there, it would have a way of working out, so, but it's hard to fake confidence.
It is. It's hard to fake confidence, but I'm saying if all went bad in the acting and your confidence got crumbled, everything went bad, what's going to happen? There's nothing. Okay, you try it again. In a fight, that's what my fear is. If all goes bad, I go, what's going to happen? All right. I'll tell you what's going to happen. This guy's going to jump on your face and beat the crap out of you. Like, that's what's so scary. It's like, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. To be able to overcome that, and to know that when you're locked in a cage, and to conquer that is something that, honestly, it's something that you have, that you should carry that everywhere. It doesn't matter about fight. Honestly, it's like, I've done this. So if I've done this, I could, and I guess that in my training, it's about as close as I can get to it. You dance with it all the time. You go with different guys, and sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, this guy could crush me. He's going to kill me, whatever. And that's okay. And it's, it's my way of dancing with it without having to really get locked in a cage. That's all.
Well, it's the same thing. Even if you're going with someone who, like, in your head, all right, this guy's probably going to kill me. You have to make that decision. Though, do I just succumb to that, or do I give 100% best of myself? Right. I mean, because if you give 100% best of yourself and you still get beat up and stuff, at least you did it. You didn't hold yourself back. I think the issue always is for everybody is that you're probably going to lose this guy. So why am I even going to give that 100%? I should just, curl up into a bowl and let him do what he wants to me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think and I'm 56 now. So, and I think, I'm not kidding. I think I'm literally just starting to see in my training and all this stuff like that. Stop comparing yourself, because all my life I'm comparing myself to what they, how would I do against this guy? I got to start comparing myself how I'm beating myself. How am I doing better than myself? And honestly, and I get through workouts like that way, or if I'm rolling around with Derek or somebody, like Amato, like I used to not be able to move at all on him, So it's not about beating Amato or trying to do, it's about beating myself and being better than I was before, and being consistent with that. I've given up on, comparing myself to other people. You can't, because you're going to get crushed, and you just live in this, this whole, you never get out of it. You can't climb out of it. They're so different. You have no idea what's going on with them.
Bro,
they're so different.
Yeah. So that's well said. But I will say you broke my confidence. And I think the reason why I probably don't even try to act anymore is because I remember when I had some movie that sent me, sides for it. So basically, I had a rehearsal, or what do they call that? Like
audition?
Audition. Yeah, I know audition, some big movie, right? And so I start studying these sides. It's like, 2 or 3 pages, and I'm going through it all. I'm calling Skylar for help, and then I'm hitting you up for help. And I'm like, I'm trying to just figure out the best way to act and help me remember the lines the best I possibly could. So I studied for like 2 days. I go to your house, we're sitting on your back patio, screen the porch, and I have the sides with me. I'm like, all right, you got to help me with this. So I hand it over to you, and I still can't even get my lines down. I forget about like the way you're saying it and like being the actual part they want you to be, like with the accents or whatever. Like I just wanted to remember it and say it, smooth and not like, forget my lines. You looked at the 2 or 3 page sides, and you like sat there quietly for like, 3-4 minutes, and you went through it, and you were like, okay, this is how it should go. And you put it down, and you literally went through it to the T, both, not just my part, but the other guy's part. And you went back and forth with one guy's personality versus the other guy's personality, and just crushed the whole thing. And I'm like, that is ridiculous. How can I ever compare to that? I can't. There's no way I would be able to do that ever. And I remember you saying, no, but listen, it's not about that, bro. I've been doing this forever. This is what I do. Like, this is what I see all day long. I'm reading scripts. I'm, doing lines and whatever. But still, you have like a crazy talent for it, in my opinion. And part of me is like, man, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I have the memory for it. I don't know how you do it.
You definitely can do it. And it's honestly, it's the same thing. It's off balance, keeping it off balance. It's the same thing in fighting. If I'm throwing, I would imagine the same thing in fighting, it's with sparring, whatever. If you're jabbing and jabbing and jabbing, and your jabbing is coming out, at the same time, every time, you're going to time it. You're going to time somebody's rhythm, and acting for me is the same thing. To make it different, when you're going in for an audition, you want to come across different than what everybody else is given. And by the way, it's got to be according to what the part is. You don't want to just be something completely ridiculous if it's not what they're asking for. But to do something different than everybody else auditioning, to make it your own, rhythm, to kind of give it that, the emotion from inside, like what you're doing, it's literally a timing thing. That's all it is. That's what stand-up is for me. It's taking my audience, like when I'm doing stand-up, it's the unexpected. That's what makes them laugh. So it's like getting them off balance. It's the same thing. It's jab, jab, jab. Leave them alone for a second. They're laughing. They're slowing down laughing. Let them stop laughing. Hit them hard again. Hit them hard again. Now you got them against the ropes. It's the same mentality for me anyway. Like you just want to keep them off balance and shock them a little bit with that. And you can do it. You do it already. You've become the champion in the world. And it's just about, like I said, once you set your mind on it, and it's the same thing. And once you've been locked in a cage, I believe you can pretty much do anything. And like you really set your mind to it. I think you can. And you did do it, by the way. To say you can't, do because you had that audition that one time, you go, I can't do this. That's not true. You know that.
Yeah, it would take a lot of work and dedication. And if it was something that I was super passionate about and I was obsessed with, then I'd go into I try my best. But
that's right.
I agree with you. But it's just, yeah, I do agree with you. What do you do? What do you do when you're super nervous, like a comedy show or a movie scene or whatever it is, and you start questioning like your confidence or having self-doubt? What do you usually do in your own mind to walk out there and be your best?
Pray. I do. I say a prayer. Like I get, and that's battled me my whole life. Anxiety in that way and self-doubt. I'm always in my own head. I'm always like, what's the worst that's going to happen here? That's why, I think I want to do fight type stuff, but I know that if I was ever, like if in the UFC where they say this, I'm going to do a joke, I'm trying to write some, that moment where, Herb Dean will go, are you ready? Are you ready? Like I would be the first fighter ever to say, you know what? I'm not ready. I can't, I'm not, I just thought about it right now. I'm so scared. I'm so nervous. I would be the first guy. That's if you ever heard a rhetorical question in your life, that's it. He's not asking you for an answer. I would be the first guy to be like, I made a huge vocational error here. Like I've got to get out of this business. I'd be throwing up backstage. You know how I am. I would be like, I'd be out talking. I couldn't stop talking. I wouldn't get to sleep. If the fight was in Vegas, I'd be in Vegas. I would be up every night. I'd be nervous. I would talk long go. I'd be like, what do I do? What if the guy's going to do that? I'm so scared. I couldn't function. It's like, I can't. So you have to overcome it. And I felt that way in stand-up. and I've overcome it. Like you just got to keep beating that fear down, and you do it, and it's not as bad and this and that, but it'll rise every show. Like you're about to walk out in front of, thousands of people and talk, or even if it's a small crowd, it doesn't matter. It's still there for me. And it's like, you're nervous because you want to perform well. And, you sometimes you care too much, it's like, and you can get in your own way. And it's just like, you just got to let yourself go and just do it, man. Yeah. And you've done it. You were nervous to do that show. I knew the whole time you were going to be great with Sandler, and you were, it was like one of those things where it's like, I loved watching you be nervous, because it's like seeing you back, before a fight or something like that, and coming out, you're going to crush this guy. And you did.
But it made it worse. Sandler told me he was nervous, and that screwed me. I'm like, he's nervous, and he was having trouble remembering his lines. And it's his first time in front of a live audience in, like, I guess years, 10 years or something. And I'm like, if he's then I got to be really crapping my pants.
No, that's not. He's not. He's saying it because he's just like, it's like, you can do it too, man. And like, we'll do it together. And that's the key, man. It's like just small steps and overcoming that. Like, it's those moments backstage before I walk on and do something. That's where my fight is. It's like this is the one I got to overcome right here. And sometimes you go out there and the show's not as good as you want. You're like, all right, we lost tonight, whatever it is. But it's like. That you get better, man. You got to you regroup.
That's why, you get all these people that hate on everybody who put themselves out there. And it's like, man, they're beating themselves by going out there and giving it a shot and overcoming the uncomfortableness of being judged by everybody and possible failure and everything. It's just takes so much balls. And then you got all these people that are just hating on it. And for me, I don't understand how, like, fighters specifically, how they go out there, going back to the praying, they go out there and terrible things could happen. We've seen, like, you have your leg snapped in half. You could be knocked out unconscious. It's very embarrassing. It could be, completely terrible. And for me, like, if I don't give it up to God, if I don't just, hard work every single day, I focus day to day to be the best version of myself and eat healthy and work my butt off. But the day of, it's like, I have to give it up to God. I have to just give it up, because I can't have all that pressure on myself. It's always about, just taking that pressure off and, hey, God, whatever you want to do here, it's on you. I did everything I possibly can to prepare, and let's see what happens here. And I think that's what I was doing backstage too. I was praying, I just giving it up,
That's what you can do. I mean, and it cracks me up to say that, like, you can be embarrassed in there of what's going to happen. And I've always done this. I mean, I don't care if you're the worst fighter in the UFC or whatever it is, the fact that you've decided to do this and you're following through and showing up and stepping into a cage, knowing that everybody's watching and doing it. I don't know, man. I'm mixed on all the fighting. Like, I hate it and love it, because I hate seeing my friends that I know get hurt, and I'm like, oh man, just get out of this stupid thing, man. Just end it. I don't. But there is also something to it that once you've done it and you've accomplished that, it's like, my goodness, knowing all that and knowing the fear that goes into it, you still did it anyway. It doesn't matter. Your legs, you get beat, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens to you. It's like, you've done more than I've done. It's like, that's pretty insane, and
you grow as a human being, right? Like, anytime that you push through those uncomfortable situations, every comic, like, it would be way easier for you to stay at home all day long and do whatever you want to do to be chill, not have to worry about anybody's opinion or putting yourself in these uncomfortable positions. But instead, you're out there, doing these comedy shows, putting yourself on stage for all these people to judge it. You've already accomplished so much, right? Like, you don't need to accomplish anything more, but you're constantly growing by putting yourself in these positions where you could fail, and those are the people that, like, you want to aspire to be like. You want to, people who have, there's no reason to do it other than pushing themselves and growing as a person, and accomplish, like, pushing through fears.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you see, I know when I get stale, and I've failed. Two TV shows have failed because my stand-up too will suffer. Like all these, like I know, because I'll fall into these ruts of just kind of like, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm kind of, man, I got to just go back, dig deep and work hard. And I know there are times in my career where I go, am I really working that hard? Am I writing every day? Am I creating every day? Am I busting my ass doing it? And, and the answer is no, I'm not. And, and what am I doing? I'm comparing myself to, but look what this guy has got. Oh my gosh, this guy's, you fall into that. And then your day is gone. And it's like, what the hell did I do today? But except worry about what other people are doing. I didn't get any better. That's why literally I'm not kidding. I'm here with these guys in Rhode Island, in a little farmhouse away from my family to write these stuff it's like, I feel like Rocky again, when he goes to Russia, it's like, because it's like, you gotta start working it and doing it. And we're all guilty of it, but I'm crazy guilty of it. Like if God gives you talent to be able to do things like this and you don't use it the right way and you don't work it, you don't do it, shame on you, man. It's like, and I don't, I fail so much, man. Like, but I'm always trying to find whether it's the diet with you, getting in shape, doing all these things. It's that process of always trying to get better. But, you can also get lost in searching in that process. So it's like, stop, make a decision and act. God is pure act, just go out and do it. Don't worry about failing, just move forward, keep moving. And that's, I don't do it nearly enough, but that's what I know I need to do.
Yeah, I love it. I'm in the same shoes, dealing with the same thing. It's a constant battle. If you had to point out like the lowest of lows that you've had in your life and like how you were able to get through it, whether it's career, personal, whatever, like what would you say were like the toughest times that you had to battle through, and how are you able to come out of that on the other side?
Well, it's, it is, for me, it is my faith. And it sounds corny and stuff like that, but it's like, it sounds like, oh, you just give it, God got me through. But if you think about every bad situation and what you're always constantly worried about what can go wrong and what's going to happen and how am I going to get through this and deal with this it doesn't matter what it is. It's like if your kid is sick or this or that, or, my father dying and this and that, my mother dying, it's like all these things you worry about constantly, you carry with you. And it's like, or this situation is going to go this way or that way. And how am I going to get through that situation and work? And what if this show gets canceled? And what if this person hates me? And this, like, oh man, what am I doing here? And I'm trying to make the right decisions. All these things, are against you. And it's like, you're always worried about it, but it's like, I know that my faith always gets me through. And it's like, it literally does. I'm still here. I'm still doing stuff, whether it doesn't matter, I'm not guaranteed to, it's not to be in this business. It's got nothing to do with the business. I got nothing to do, whatever it is. I don't know what my life holds for me, but I know that I got to keep going and conquering it and, and growing and loving and literally in doing that and helping, other people helping me and me helping other people. You're that's the reason you're meant to be here. That, it's like, it's in you. So it's like, I know there's a confusing answer, but it's like, you don't know you're going to get through it at the time, but you do, you just do. And, again, for me, it's my faith. I know my purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm with you. Like, it's amazing. I always, when I'm focused on God and I'm like, doing everything I should be doing, I'd never been in a better place. That's where you want to be. But then you, just like a diet, you kind of like fall off and it's like, and life starts kind of sucking more. You feel empty inside, and then you pull yourself back in and then you're good. So it's a constant battle.
Totally.
It's the right thing to do. It's just staying consistent, and keeping your head, focused on what you really do believe is most important and gives you the most peace,
without a doubt. Like I'll wake up really early, and there'll be days where, you get your workout in, you get your prayer, you're done. I go to mass. I'll do like everything. Like my day is stacked where I'm like, man, there's nothing is going to go. And 3 minutes later, I'm doing something like I'm yelling at a guy in a car in traffic or whatever. Like, and I've lost my, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I, it just shows how fallen I am and how, like, come on, man, like everything was going so good and everything, but you regroup and you start again, man.
Give me. I think your morning routine, you're super disciplined with, and you're a guy I think of when I want to do everything right when it pertains to the morning, and I want to kind of emulate. Give your morning routine, and because it's also fun. It's like the morning is for me. It's like the time that you have the most control over, right? And then as time goes on in the day, your life, everything starts spiraling out of control. Then you have less control and you start doing things, it's either you're becoming lazy or you're, doing things that you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
What's your morning routine?
Yeah. If I could cut and paste, my mornings for me, I would be ripped. I would be spiritually in the right place. Yeah. I'd be a saint. I would be, all this stuff, because it is that no one else is up then. And there's less chance for me to fail, but it's also, I'm like, once I wake up and I'm always up early, first of all, because I'm peeing 4 times a night now, sucks getting old. But I'm up early. Once I have that cup of coffee,
what time are you up?
4:35, most times, like that area. I'll wake up like throughout the night though a couple times, but it's like if I get up at like 4:35, right in that area, I go down, I get coffee, and like I'm present, man. Like that's it's so quiet in my house, and I'm clear, and first thing I do, obviously, I hit my knees, man, every day and do my prayers. I get that done. I work out. I get the juices flowing, and my workout starts so slow. It's so funny because every day I'm like, I don't feel like doing this. And I go, well, just go down there and throw the gloves on and just touch the bag. Just literally touch it, literally take it and just go put them on and just walk around and go, and knowing you don't have to do anything today. If you want to walk out, and I'll put the music on or whatever it is and just walk around, hit a bag. I go, that didn't feel too bad. Then you walk around, and then I'll jump a rope for 2 seconds, go back to a bag, do these things. And then I develop these weird routines where it's like nothing is consistent in itself, but I'm doing all different things. I'll be on a Versa climber. I'm like, what the hell how'd I get on this thing? And then I'm like, doing a double end bag. And I'm like, this is the best workout ever. I love this thing, then it's like just moving around, and doing different things. Then I'll pick up some weights and do it. Nothing consistent. I don't do the same thing twice probably, but I'll look up at the end, it's an hour went by and it's like, I just did, that was like 700 calories. I'm drenched and I'm like, this is great. Then I'll go into the infrared or something like that. I'll do that. And that'll be it. Then I'll, get out of that and start my day, either go to mass, like we have mass and then do that and then eat. And that's, once I get that in there, that's great. But then my day goes downhill. It's like I get weaker. I sit down for most of the day after that. We're writing or doing whatever. So I'm in the chair forever. I just got an exercise bike and put it next to my desk in my office now. So at least to get up every once in a while, because I get lazy. I get tired. Like I stack my mornings so much. I work out that the rest of the day I just get sore, stiff. And I'm like, I don't do anything. And I eat bad later on. It's like, so if it was just the mornings, I'd probably be the fittest man alive.
Yeah, your mornings are legit. Like, again, you get your mind right, you get your spirit right, you get your body right.
And then I get work done. That's when my mind is clear to do, like stand-up work or work on, movies or whatever work I'm doing. Whatever I'm dealing with, I'm pretty good then. But after that, I get lazy, man. It's like as the day goes on, it just attacks me. It's like literally I procrastinate. I pick up my phone. I'm swiping and, looking at, the news for and I'm like, I can't watch this stuff. Like, boom, I get rid of that. I'm like, I'm looking for ways to avoid picking up that pen and writing or typing on the computer. And it's like, that's my day. The rest of my day is just, I don't feel like doing this right now. So I don't do it. So I have to drive to places like this. Sometimes I go, all right, we're going here for 4 or 5 days. We're just going to write every day and do it that way. But, How did you do it? How did you do it when you were training for those fights? You know, all the stuff down in your basement, you know, you were doing, you were amazing with that. You locked in, and it's like insane.
Yeah. Same thing. Just not that you want to do it. You know, it doesn't, for me, waking up early does not come easy like it comes for you. Like you wake up you're at 4:35 and you can't even understand how people can just wake up like that. For me, I could sleep till 10 o'clock easy. I could go to sleep at 10 p.m. and wake up at 10 a.m. and maybe even later, naturally. And then if you start reading some like books on how important sleep is, it's like, all right, maybe I should be sleeping that much.
Right.
But it doesn't help. It doesn't help the rest of the day. Right now, I've been, since the kids have to wake up so damn early for school, they have to be up at 6:30. So no matter what, I'm up at 6:30. And but yeah, I got to go to sleep early. You know, I like to like chill at night. I like to play video games. I like to, you know, just have some point at night where I'm like decompressing and chilling out. But I gotta just stop with that, because I need to be in bed like 9:30. Early, you know, earlier than 10, because I like to wake up earlier before the kids get up and get going. But yeah, listen, I don't know. It's hard for me, but I think getting those morning routines in is the most important part of the day, because it is the structure that sets the rest of your day on the right foot. If you wake up, you sleep in, you eat like crap, your day's done. It's already, you might as well just pack it in. But if you do everything that, you know, you were saying, and I was doing similar stuff, you feel so good and you're excited about the day. And you know, at least you did what you're supposed to be doing and what makes you feel best in the morning. And now as the day goes on, you try to hold on to that, but it's amazing how all of our appetites, you know, just come in and like, yeah, you know, like you said, you're on the phone. We're all addicted to phones and the computer and the news, and creates, you know, I had a psychologist on my podcast, and, you know, going into technology addiction and what it does to your brain, you know, the dopamine being released and all this stuff. We're all drug addicts, really, on pleasure and escaping reality, you know, escaping, you know, things that we know is going to make us feel good. It's going to feel good when you start writing, you know, and you tackle this thing, you know, and you don't procrastinate, but somehow we get pulled into a different direction. It's freaking unbelievable. We're constantly doing things that we know it's not good for us and we don't want to do. We tell ourselves like 45 minutes before that, we'll not do that ever again. And also 45 minutes later, we're doing it. Like, what the hell is that?
Again,
but you got to keep self-improving, right? Like you got to keep trying to be better. You can't give up on it. You can't be like, screw it. I'm never going to be able to be perfect and do exactly what I want to do all the time. So just give up. And that's it.
It's not that. It's picking yourself up and doing it again. You're right. I mean, it's like I said, you know, you can have that morning, if I can cut and paste it throughout my day. And now it's like, I just try to push it to, you know, try to get it to noon, to 12, to, you know, 2 o'clock of like, what, you know, the longer I can make that day, at least it's just defensively shortening the day on the other side of it where I'm going to screw up, you know, where I'm going to either eat bad or, you know, get angry at somebody or do something like, you know, whatever it is, like just keep pushing that, you know, and hopefully it minimizes. But it's like, you know, and there are days where you're like, wow, today was pretty good. All right, I got through, like you didn't even realize, you know, and it's just about reproducing that. Like just make that happen again tomorrow. Get up and do the, you know, conquer those things. You know, don't pick up that phone. Don't do that. You know, it is just for shorter amounts. And like me, it's got to be in the way of like going down and just hitting the bag once, or say, you know, when I have a comfort of going, you don't have to work out. You don't have to do, you know, do a little bit of this and get through it. You know, when I know I've got to do something, that's why I hate going to jiu-jitsu class. It's like, especially Derek, you know, like I got to drive out there. It's like an hour to drive out there. And I'm like, these guys, I got to wear that heavy freaking gi. I hate it. I'm fat. I don't feel like doing it. My blue belt is literally the end of like this thing. They're like, this is the end of my belt, man. It doesn't even tie. I can't even, I got 2 nubs, man. I'm like, he should have got me a bigger belt. Anyway, I'm out there. I hate the freaking warm-ups. I don't even want the warm-ups. Wheelbarrows. Get the hell off me. I don't want to do a cartwheel. I hate this stuff. I fake it. I do a couple steps here and there. We're going in the circles. I cheated all. I just want to get through it. But it's all misery because it's all pain. It's all suffering. And we're trying to avoid it at any cost. So it's so much easier to say, I'm not coming today, Derek, or I'm not going to, you know, whatever it is. Oh, you know, I got to do the stuff. Do you really have to do that stuff? Well, maybe true. Yeah. But could you have made it happen? Yeah, you could have, you know, and it's each day you conquer yourself in that. I feel like you're gonna, you're gonna grow and you're gonna be better. Me and Rogan started jujitsu at the exact same time.
That's crazy.
At the exact same time. Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu back then. I remember we were hanging out together, big fans of Boss. We knew Boss back then, in the day, and we started training, and we basically started at the same time. And look where he is. Look what he's done. Like, he conquers that. And I'm like, I started and stopped and started. I've never conquered it, So it's like, but I can't look at him and go, oh, I could have been this, that, now, a black belt or this or that. No, I've got to look at myself and go, okay, let's get better. You get on runs where you start doing better. Just get better than, beat yourself. Just get better than what you were. And it's fun. You see these little patches of time where you go for to class a few times, you make it in a row, and you're like, wow, I've seen a move open up to me. And that's such a huge thing where you go, I've never been able to get this. I got this on this guy. And it was a different guy. So it wasn't somebody, that I knew that is giving it to me, because Derek gives me everything. Yeah. So it's like it worked. It actually worked, or whatever it was. And, that's the growth right there. That's the belt. That's the success. That's the crushing a crowd, in stand up, and we're doing that, those are the wins, man. And it's like stacking those and just keep coming back and doing it, that's it.
Yeah, bro. I love this. Can you go into how you made it? Like, so you're Cortland football player, your brother was doing comedy, right? So you decided, all right, let me give comedy a shot. Can you go through that a little bit, and then how eventually it worked out for you?
Yeah, comedy was never. I mean, I was always a shy kid, always very shy. I was a good athlete. I was a big kid, but
you were jacked too. There's pictures. You showed me some pictures. I don't even know. I hope they're on the internet. Are they on the internet? Any of those good ones? I'm sure you know. Come on, stop playing.
No, I don't know. I literally don't know.
Full head of hair, jacked Kevin.
Oh, full head of hair. That one was gone a long time ago. No, I was a decent athlete. I was like 205 in high school, maybe 200 in high school. I had a 4.6 40, decent speed, man, back then as a running back.
Oh, you're explosive.
I loved it. I thought I was going to be like professional baseball player, football player. I didn't know what I was going to be, but I was going to be something. And then it was Division III Cortland because of
hits home runs out of City Field. Hits home runs out of City Field. But comes to the gym with me, does strength training, and does the hex squats like with way more weight than I can. You were like a Volante.
No, it was the Kaiser machine where I smoked you in Volante.
I don't think you smoked me on the Kaiser, but
smoked them.
Only thing you've ever beat me in is bowling. That's it.
Yeah, I won how many millions of dollars off of you? Remember we were betting and you were doubling down.
We're going into your story, but yeah. So Kevin had a bowling alley in his basement, and we're both super competitive. And I think I'm good. I think I could beat everybody and anything. And so we start bowling, and of course he has a bowling alley in his basement, so he's gonna be better than me.
But anymore, no, I don't. I didn't want to be that guy with the bowling alley, so I got rid of the bowling alley.
But you had the bowling alley. You had it.
The house came with it. I didn't put it in there.
Well, either way,
you bought a house. It had it.
It didn't have the right slick, like the oil on it, so you couldn't curve it. You had to roll it straight. And Kevin is very good at just rolling the ball straight, so he beat me. But anyway, we start gambling. We started playing for like $5, $10. Next thing, now we're like $100. The next thing I was like $1,000. Then we're doing like $400,000 games. At some point, I turned to him and I look at him. I'm like, hang on, this is just play money, right? Because I was down like $350,000, and then he looked at me weird when I said it was play money, and then he was nice enough to like turn it into play money from me. I think at first it was supposed to be real money, and I was down like $2 million.
You lost $2 million. Anyway, so I went to college. I went to Nassau because my grades were horrible. I went to Nassau Community College to play football, and let me tell you something. I learned there that I was a running back, and I went there. I go, I'm going to smoke these guys. I want to get to a good college, Division I. They were so much better than me at Nassau. It was insane.
Really?
Like, yes.
Nassau Community College gets tons of great athletes. I went there too.
Dude, Yeah, no, amazing athletes. So I got out of there because I wasn't playing there. They were much better than me right away, and that just crushed my spirit really for football. But I went to only get me. I couldn't get into any place because of my grades were horrible. I never went to class, and ended up at Cortland State, upstate New York, and went there for 3 years. Division III. That's when I knew the dream was over. I sucked. When you suck at Division III, you got to look for something else. And I looked.
Did you start at all? Did you get some downs in? Were you playing?
No. Oh yeah. No. I went there and they ran me against. I was like the fourth string then. Literally, they had a running back then that they loved, and I was like fourth string running back. And I would go with the small. I was bigger than my offensive line, and they would use me against their first string defense. And I would run against those guys in practice constantly, and I was just to get crushed. And that's when I got like a concussion. I was getting drilled. But I realized I wasn't good enough to make it then. I wasn't fast enough, and I go, dream's over. So I got to look for something else. And I hated school. And I remember to get credits, guys were telling me like, I'm not going to last here. They go, take glass blowing. They say you can get like 3 credits for glass blowing, and another one was public speaking. Was a public speaking class. They told me to take that, and they go, it's so easy. And I'm like, what is it? What do you got to do? I didn't even think that you'd have to speak publicly. Again, I was a shy kid. I didn't want to do it. He goes, just take it. It's an easy 3 credits or whatever it was. And I took the class, never realizing I'm going to have to actually speak publicly in front of the whole class. And that's your final grade. I didn't know that. So I remember we had to make this a whole speech about a product. It didn't matter what the product was, and you have to go up in front of the class and just give a speech about it. And I was so nervous about it, I put it off the whole time, and finally I just said that I had to do it, and I did it, and I made the class laugh because I was so bad with my speech that I just started, I was tripping on my words, and then I just started making fun of my own product. And they laughed. And I remember going, wow, that felt different, and I ended up passing, getting like a B. The guy loved my speech because I got a B in the class. And I just remember feeling different. Like that was cool. Something I conquered. I don't know if it was because I conquered my fear of public speaking and doing that. But when I went home, then this was like 3 years of college. I was there and I'm like, I'm done with college. I go home for the summer. My brother was starting an improv group. He was in an improv group and started doing stand-up with Rock Rubin. And I just started tagging along with those guys. Yeah. And I said, can I come down and do it? And I was like bouncing on the side. I was doing like, regular stuff just to make some money. And I started doing improv. And I did improv, and I did a small community theater play, and I just started performing. And I was like, once I did that.
You did a play?
Yeah.
I can't believe you did a play.
Yeah. I did it. It was Mousetrap. I remember that. And then I was Major Metcalf.
Did the improv stuff you feel like a little easier to you than a lot of the other people? Did you feel like you did?
Well, it came easier for me because it was other people on stage as opposed to stand-up. I'm saying I was so nervous to do stand-up that I tried improv because improv, you can always get in and get out. And, you're in a scene with other people, and they can pick you up if no one's laughing at your stuff. So I did improv, and that was man, that helped so much.
But did you think you were like your first day you show up to the class with your brother and all them? Like, did you feel like, wow, I'm actually pretty good at this naturally? Like this might be something.
No. I felt like I did okay. I was nervous with that. I felt that way with stand-up, though. When I did stand-up, I remember this. I was with my buddy. My first time, I was so nervous. I drank like 4 Coors Lights. I remember before I went in, I was like, I got to do this, man. And I made it that I did it at the East Side Comedy Club in Huntington, Long Island. And I had no family there because comics would have family come because they'd laugh. And I was like, if I'm going to try stand-up, I'm going to do 5 minutes, and I don't want anybody I know there because I don't want a false reading on this thing. And I went up, and it's such bad material and such goofy stuff, but I crushed. I remember I did really well. And I was on such a high. I mean, this is where Eddie Murphy went to, East Side Comedy Club, all these, big comedians, and Robert Klein. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm going to be like one of these guys. I'm never going to look back. And I was like, this is the easiest. And I crushed. I mean, I really crushed. So it was such a high that it just got locked into me then. And the next time I went on stage, I remember like a couple of days later, I was so excited again. I literally, same material, I bombed so bad. I remember feeling, I'm not kidding, sweat run down my back into the crack of my ass there's nobody. You can hear the air conditioning vent, like they're all just staring at me. Not one laugh. I'm not kidding. Same material, nothing. Because I got off my rhythm.
Do you feel like you performed it the same, or was just the audience just wasn't the same?
The audience is like a dog. They can sense fear. And it's like, I didn't have that confidence. Like once I get that first laugh, I never got that first laugh. So once I didn't get that, my rhythm was off. And now I'm thinking of that and speeding up. And now it's like, and the audience is looking at me like this, like, what the hell are you trying to, and I was like, you ever try to do that? Now I'm dropping words out and they're like, oh, no. And I couldn't finish sentences and do this. And I was mad and yelling and I didn't know what to do. And it like that. So it was horrible. And that was a turning point because that I could have very easily said, I'm going back to my day job and never doing this again. I never want to feel that again. But, the guys talked me out of it and I got back in it and, you slowly work your way back. And that's the key. That's the confidence. It's once you've been there and you learn, okay, doesn't matter what they do. The audience is not going to affect me. I know doesn't matter. And once they sense that, the opposite is when they sense you have no fear of them in that way, you can be yourself. You can just do, what you do. And that's, what are you doing? Skylar, it's unbelievable. Right in the middle of my big story.
Is he looking at, is he trying to talk
a cup? I didn't even ask for a cup. He puts a cup down. What is that for, guy? That's a huge story I just had going there.
You gave you a cup of water?
Everything.
Oh my gosh, this podcast is ruined. Oh man, it was my favorite podcast until Skylar came over and ruined it.
Unbelievable.
No, keep going.
No. So it's basically, what was I saying? I didn't even know what I was saying.
Just that, you conquered that fear. You had a terrible day, it didn't work out, and then got you. Yeah,
it's that. And Rogan taught me a lot of that. Rogan taught me, he would always, because we started the same time in stand-up, basically. He was in Boston for a while, and then when we had the same manager, Jeff Sussman, and then he was always like, man, do your own thing. Like he was doing his own thing all along. And I was kind of trying to cater to the audiences and, do what every stand-up does. And, and he was like, man, you're funny when you're not doing that. Don't do that. Don't, just be yourself, So I would try to go, all right, more crazier and this and that and be more, but then that wasn't me either. Rogan was just like, he was aggressive and this and that. And sometimes when I did it, it worked, and sometimes it didn't. So it's just kind of like finding myself. But he helped me a lot in letting go of that persona of a stand-up that I always thought it had to be.
Yeah.
I
guess I feel like that's what makes you so great at stand-up, though, is that you are truly yourself on stage. Like you are who I see when I'm hanging out just with you in the room, by ourselves. That's who you are on stage, obviously with lines and different, things that you're going to end up saying, but you're like the pauses in between words and the way I don't know the word for that, but you know what I mean? Like the way you, the way you talk and the way your jokes come out, it's just you. It's just you being naturally funny.
Well, it's the one avenue of performing that, you're not listening to notes from the network or listening to this or that, and everybody else is dependent on you in this way, and how they deliver a line affects this and the audience and it's just me up there. It's like and live or die by it. So it's like, but it's like I edit, I do I'm wearing all hats. I'm the writer, director, performer. I can do anything I want in any way, and again, good or bad, whether they laugh or they don't laugh, it's all on me. You live or die by it right there. So it's exciting. It's good. And, when you win, it's like, man, I did that all by myself. And when you lose, you're like, wow, I maybe I don't know what's funny anymore.
Yeah. What do you have time right now, or you run out of time?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
What can you go into? So I know Star Search and then that got you into King of Queens. Can you go through that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So started doing stand-up early on, and then started getting a little bit of like raising above the group of guys that we were with. Like, there were a few guys that myself, Rock, Gary, my brother, Adam Farrar, like there was a group of guys that were starting to, out of the group of comedians that we were with, were starting to get better and better, really work at it, help each other out. And, and kind of raise up a little bit and get better opportunities and finding things and working together and writing all the time and creating and doing that. A lot of guys didn't do that. A lot of guys didn't, they used the same jokes over and over again and kind of felt comfortable about doing it. We weren't like that. We were so excited about working and we loved stand-up so much in the beginning. We wrote all the time, helped each other out. A lot of guys too are bitter in the comedy in the world. Like they don't want to give jokes to other people because they want to use it for themselves. Our guys were like, man, this is great for your joke. And we were tagging other people's jokes and help. Oh yeah.
What'd that look like? Were you guys just hanging out, talking and eating and having these notes?
We would go to the East Side Comedy Club during the day with notepads. A bunch of comedians would show up, get coffee going and just kind of write jokes and be like, hey man, I thought of something for your, whatever this, the bit about the, and you go through your act and you kind of perform it and stand on stage with nobody there, just kind of go, hey man, when I do this, is it funny? When and they're like, no, don't do that. It's like, all right, whatever, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that was helpful. It was really helpful in finding your own voice and starting to do that. And then you knew what would work for you and what didn't. It's like, and that's what it is. It's about finding that lane and then going, man, I can push this further and further and further. And as my confidence grew, you can go up in front of an audience now and we would have little tests that's like, they'd go, all right, go on stage now and see how long you can go without saying a word, before you start your set. So I would go up on stage and, I wouldn't say anything. And the audience would be like laughing. I'd be like waving. I'd be like this. And then they'd get quiet. And then I would go, I wouldn't say anything again. And then they would be like, they'd laugh. And then sometimes, they would stop and it'd be a wave of laughter. And then the longer you went, sometimes they would laugh and other times they wouldn't come back to you. They hated you. It's like, so you just try to test yourself in different ways of going, okay, I'm controlling an audience. I'm kind of working with them. I'm seeing how far I can take them and get them back, lose them and then get them back. And it's the same thing with fighting. It's just, I would imagine it to be where you're, controlling an opponent and hammering them when you have to, and then, laying off when you don't. So we did that. We did that for a while, and the stand-up started growing. And then I started being able to, move up the ranks from opening act to a middle act, which is, the sweet spot to headlining a show, to start, and you start doing that and you try to grow that across the country. You start going out to different spots, and that started doing well. And then I did some crazy shows like the new Candid Camera. I got a show. I did MTV's Half Hour Comedy Hour. These little shows I got spots on. And then I got Star Search, and I won Star Search, but I won Star Search when it wasn't even Star Search anymore. Like it was like Ed McMahon was still there, but it was like, it used to be the prize was like $100,000. It was only like $25,000 at the time or something like that. It was kind of like fading out.
Oh, really?
So I won that, and it didn't do anything for my career, really.
Now, did you have money at this point? Were you making good money? Were you like surviving?
Surviving,
Surviving, yeah.
But I think I was still living at home, my folks,
That's crazy.
Literally. I mean, I was living at home till I was like, I think 25, I didn't even know. So,
and now Saturday Night Live was like the big show, right? Was that the goal for you? Right.
I loved the Saturday Night Live at the time. Yeah. It was yeah. I mean, if you can get that was, there were a few goals. There was the Tonight Show was a goal, as a stand-up comedian, getting Saturday Night Live, a sitcom, all these things were like, whoa, this is the way to go. And the way to get them for me was I got booked in the comedy festival, the Montreal Comedy Festival. And that was a big thing for me. I was, where a whole bunch of network executives are going to be at, and all the people from, TV and movies and studio and all this stuff. So it's like your career can be made there. Back in the day, it could be. I don't know if it is that way anymore.
Yeah.
But I remember I'd go up there with Rogan all the time. We'd go up to, Montreal and perform there, and such a blast. And, it's a fun time. And then one year I went up there, and I remember I did really well in a set. And then I got asked to do another set up there. And then there was a buzz. Like, I did really well there, and people were talking about me in the network, like people were talking about making a deal and this and that. And I remember NBC was like, wow, they're interested in you, Sussman was saying. So I found out that SNL was interested. They said, would you audition? So I flew down to audition for SNL, and I was like, this is amazing. This is incredible. I flew from Montreal to SNL. I auditioned. I thought it was going to be the greatest thing ever. And I get there, and they're like, what characters do you want to do? I didn't have any characters. I was like, oh, I don't have characters. They're like, all right, do you want to do stand-up then, or whatever it is? So I was like, all right, I'll just do stand-up. I'm not kidding. I sat. It was the worst audition I've ever had. I don't remember seeing anybody. I don't think there was nobody in there. No, I'm not kidding. It was a mic stand, and they just film you. No one's there. They put a light on me. I couldn't see the dark. I didn't even know nobody's watching. And I had to do my stand-up. And I was like, oh my gosh. And now with nobody reacting, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. And so I'm up there and I'm nervous. I didn't get it. I ate it so bad. It was horrible.
That sounds terrible.
It was the worst. I was sweating and coming off this high. I was just in Montreal crushing, people loving me. And it's like getting, it's like probably the worst knockout ever. Like, you're like, what?
Got humbled.
Yes, I got so humbled, and I didn't get it, and I knew I didn't get it, and I was like, oh my gosh. But NBC said, but we're going to develop a sitcom for you. Maybe we'll do that, a development deal. So I took that, and that eventually turned into the idea of the King of Queens came up, and the NBC at that time was doing like Friends. Remember, all these workspace comedy, and it was kind of the yuppie, kind of successful. So they weren't interested in doing the King of Queens type of show there. And so
now, did you come up with the King of Queens? How did that all come together?
When I got a development deal at NBC, they get a bunch of writers. NBC will get a bunch of writers to see who can fit with you or whatever it is. And this guy, Michael Whitehorn, saw my tape of what I did stand-up wise. And he goes, this guy's kind of funny. Maybe I can work with him and, create a show around him. And he goes, hey man, what about like an old, like honeymooners type show, like a classic show where it's like, and I love that because Honeymooners is my favorite show. So I was like, I'm in. So he did a very basic show. And I remember NBC didn't like it. They didn't like it. They wanted to make me more. They felt like I was kind of like a loser because I was a truck driver and, blue collar. They didn't love it. They wanted to make, he goes, can he be playing chess on the internet with some kid in the base, like can you in London? And it was like all this stuff. I was like, what are you talking about? Like Michael Whitehorn was like, no, that's not the character. He's going to be this basic guy. And he's going to be, but that's it. He comes home to his wife every night and they're going to have a, fun relationship and his buddies. And they said, well, we're not interested in that. So it was dead. It was dead. I remember I went to Florida. My parents were in Florida at the time and we were staying down there. And I was like, it's over with. And I remember they got a call from my manager, got a call from CBS because I had done a couple episodes of Everybody Loves Raymond with Ray, Ray Romano.
Oh, were you friends with him already?
Oh yeah. From stand-up. We go way back. And he got a show and, being on that show was so helpful for me because it took the fear away. Like it's exactly like you came on a show. Now you know what it's like to be on a show. Yeah. So I was able to, perform on that show with him, which was a hit show, by the way. And, I learned so much from Ray because Ray was like always like 2 years ahead of me. And like when he got his deal, I got my deal like 2 years later, and he was already doing the show. So guys like Rogan, guys like Ray, it was amazing to soak it in and to learn from them. And Ray, I learned so much from on his show, and he even let me write an episode with him. We wrote an episode about golf, so I learned about writing it and getting it done. And it was really cool. And because of that, CBS saw me in that, and they were like, he was good in the show, decent enough. Do you want to do the King of Queens? Once NBC passed on the idea of the King of Queens, it was dead. they said, would you want to do it here at CBS? And so we were like, yeah, all right, whatever. And that was it. So they put us on, and I remember we were up against Cosby, and it was nerve-wracking, and it just took off. I remember.
Jeez. What episode did you realize like you made it? Like, holy crap, this is actually happening.
Just you're never done looking over your shoulder going, they're going to cancel you or whatever. You're so nervous for the first. I remember, looking at numbers on, like, how did we do the night, the ratings and this and that, because everything means something. I remember, I remember my dad calling me, you guys did this or whatever it was. Like, he was into numbers all of a sudden. He knew nothing about Hollywood, but he knew to follow, we learned how to follow the numbers and see if you're going to make it. And each episode you go, okay, we just survived this episode. Like, we get to do another one, and we got picked up for this one. And then when we got a second season, it felt like you can breathe a little bit, but it's like, and when we started beating Cosby, I remember we were in the sweet spot because it was Cosby would be at 8:00. We were at 8:30, and then it was Everybody Loves Raymond. So we were in the hammock, Cosby would bring a lot of people in to watch that show, obviously, and it did really well. And we would ride off of that wave. We would dip down, and then, because our show wasn't as good, and then Ray's show would be crushing, it would crush at 9:00. So after a while, we started growing, and then we were actually even beating Cosby. We were like right around there with Cosby, and we started to take him. And that's when I started going, all right, we got something here. They're starting to stay with us and watch us. But we were never, we did 9 seasons of the show, and we were never Friends or Everybody Loves. Like, we were never the shiny show. We're doing better now, I think, in syndication. Like, more people are finding our show and saying, it's on every day, and I relate to it. Yeah, I think we're doing better now than we did then.
That is crazy. You think you get more like in viewership? You get more viewers now than you did then?
I think so. Syndication, yeah. I mean, we were top 10 a couple times, but we were, usually in the teens and this and that. Like, there were so many other shows that were better than us, but we just stayed. We had staying power, and people can kind of relate to us. And for some reason, it clicked and stayed. And now it's like, honestly, I hear more about it now than I ever have.
And that works out because you get residuals, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that show.
That's freaking awesome. I love that show. Was there one episode that you feel like did it that brought you guys over? Like, wow, this is what captured those guys' eyes, or it was just kind of consistency?
No, we had tons of episodes that missed, but I think it was, every episode had stuff that missed, but there were a couple things in it here and there that, like, nothing ever big enough, that it was like the one thing that people would, recognize and say that was the moment. But there were moments in each episode where people could relate and see themselves in the characters. And I felt like that's what was getting people. Like, they were relating to it a little bit. And, that's was making it, hopefully make the show grow, and it did,
Yeah. And change your life forever. That was it.
That was it, man. Yeah, that was
insane.
That was fun. Yeah, that was a big one. And then, it keeps the gold switches. Then it's like, then you're not happy with that, and then you're like, now I want to get into movies. Now I want to do this or what. You're never happy, man. No,
you're right. I learned that from you, and I learned it myself too. Like, you win the world championship. My whole life, that's what I wanted to do. I became a world champion, and then you accomplish it. And I accomplished it in a way that I could never even imagine. It was better than I could ever imagine. And then it's like, holy crap, I finally did it. I've been so dedicated and focused on this for so long. It's here. Boom, I did it. And then that night, I remember looking at myself in the mirror and like, I'm just me. I'm still me. Nothing changed. Like, it's almost a little depressing. It's like, all that, and for this, like, nothing changed. Like, you expected this, like, everything to be so different. You get money, you get, like, fame and all that stuff, but all that stuff doesn't really mean, what you think it means. I know it's easier said, when you have it, but
you beat the best of all time twice. It's like, this is why I tell you, by the way, retire, stop everything you're doing right now. You're an idiot. I know you're going to hate me for saying it, but I love you, and I don't want to see you do this. Like, it's like, what are you going to do? Like,
I'm the best in the world. I got to just show it. I got to let everybody know. How crazy is it when I come back with a broken leg and a half, and I come out and just smash everybody and become world champion?
And what's going to happen?
How crazy is that going to be? It's good. It's way easier just to give up.
You're not giving up,
or just to stop. I'm
You
good.
conquer different things. You've already done it. What's going to be better? What, honestly,
Not done yet.
listen, no, I don't want to get in your head negatively. I'm not going to do
I
that.
hate you.
I won't do
Let's
that.
talk about Will Smith.
Remember when you were training and I would be like, oh, this is hilarious. When you were going into a fight and I was like, maybe this is why, listen to me, ready? I would go, think of the worst thing that can happen. And you're like, what? And I'm like, think of yourself getting knocked out, like getting the worst knockout ever. And then now you're not going to be nervous about that. Like if you're prepared for that, and I remember long ago when everybody was like, shut up, man. I'm like, maybe I should shut up. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I was like,
no,
right?
I think you're right. No, it's funny. We're going to go back to your movie career, so you're not getting off. But I think you can look at it in two ways. I think, well, for me, I always imagine myself getting, dropped and, hanging on by a thread and somehow pulling them in and holding on for dear life and finding a way to win. Like I imagine worst case scenarios.
Right.
But the flip side of that is that if you have that mentality where it's like, it's okay, you want to think of the worst case scenarios. Sometimes if you subconsciously thinking about those so much, it could play into reality. There is something. And then
you make it real is what you're saying.
What's that?
You're saying if you think about the negative part of it, is it good to do that, or you can make it real?
I'm going to say I'd say there's a balance there. I think you can, but if you're thinking about it a little bit too much and you can't start believing in it, because if you believe in it, it's probably going to happen. Like, it's amazing. I know you know this, but like subconsciously what we're thinking about all the time probably will come to fruition. And if you're constantly thinking about bad, negative things, it's probably what's going to happen. You want to be positive.
I'm saying not even like I always think about, for me, and it's not constantly thinking about what can badly happen, what can happen that's bad. It's just like I think about when I'm backstage, I go, if I'm, people are there to see me, like when I was auditioning for people, when I was at Montreal or whatever it was, I'm like, okay, what if I eat it now? Like I liked getting it out of the way in my own head to go, what if I eat it? What's going to happen? What's the worst that's going to happen if I bomb so bad? All right, so I don't get a deal. I don't do this. I don't do that. It's like, all right, who cares? And it was able, like, I don't dwell on it, but then I go, all right, if I'm able to deal with that, my friends are still going to love me. My family's going to love, like I can get on and, so what? Who cares? It kind of frees me up to go, all right, I already know the worst of it. So it's like, if that, so now only good. Now I can go out there and be aggressive and be like that because I know. And as soon as I get that first laugh in my head, I already know it's not that, because I could eat it from the rest of my time on stage here, and it wasn't that. I didn't eat it the whole time. I got one laugh. Yeah. So it's like, and it builds, that confidence builds, But I don't know.
I honestly think that's the healthiest mindset you could have in going into a performance. Yeah. But Longo, on the other hand, he's very superstitious. You start talking to if you shake his left hand on accident, he's freaking out. If he doesn't have the necklace on or the watch on, or his hair isn't done the certain way that it was done for the last fight, and I won the last fight. This guy is the most superstitious person of all time. So if he hears you saying something about me being knocked out, he's like, don't say that. Don't say that, because in his mind, it's like now that's gonna happen. He doesn't want to think of anything like that.
By the way, this was before you fought Vitor, so you won on this one with me. So it wasn't even about like I didn't want to do it like, and they go, yeah, that's why you got knocked out or whatever. That's why you got lost. That's why he lost. Yeah. It never happened. You won on that one. So
okay, so now Longo should be fine with you saying that moving forward. There's no issue.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, yes, he should listen to me a lot more often.
I agree. You do have a lot of knowledge to share. That I mean, honestly, you were my coach for a while there. You were taking over. Poor Longo he had to compete with you.
I was not your coach. All I wanted you to do was clean your trunk and your car and take care of your equipment and your gym and show up on time if you're going into a camp. Because I was seeing just these little things that you saw as little things. What does it matter? This and that equated to the big things. I go, if you're not taking care of these little things and getting them organized and getting in, you're not going to conquer the big things. That's all that was. That's literally,
you're right. And that carries over to everything, right? Like when you have messing up with little small things here and there, it's going to crash into your whole life. You procrastinate on the small things. There goes the big things. All right, go back to your movie career. Let's stop talking about me. So wait, you become this sitcom star. You're rich. you're famous, but right away you want to change your goal to something else. Now you want to be in a movie. Go into that.
Yeah, I wanted to do movies, and you start losing about, I was so excited about, you take for granted, sitcoms. Then you're already acting in a sitcom and doing this your own show basically, and but you want more. You always want more. It just shows you that you're always going to drive for more. You're always going to want more. And I couldn't get anything. I couldn't. It was like a few years in. I think I started the show in 98, 1998, and I didn't get a movie until 2005, I think. 2004 we shot it. But I remember going for auditions and trying talking to Sussman and saying man, we got to get a movie. What can we, gosh, I got to get something. And I remember I got an audition for this movie. I said, you got to get me in for this audition. It was for the movie Idiocracy or something like that. It was a movie that was being done. Idiocracy. I think it was, I think it was Luke Wilson was in it. I remember that he got cast in it. But I remember I read for this movie. I went for this movie, and I got a call back, and I was so close to getting it. And I had a great audition, and it was a goofy, pretty funny movie in certain areas. And I went home, and I auditioned, did really well, got a call back, was so excited, went in there. Mike Judge was the guy. Remember, did Beavis and Butthead and all that? He did this. He did this movie, and I was going in for the second round of the auditions, and I was like, I got this, man. And I read for it. I got a little nervous in the audition with him. He was there, and I didn't get it. I remember hearing about it. I thought I got it, and I didn't get it. Sussman says, you didn't get it. And I was so upset that I remember being bummed out, and I was like, nothing's going to ever happen. That week, I got a call from the people at Sony to say that you're going to audition for Will Smith's movie, which was Hitch. So I was like, so excited about that. Now I was bummed out about the other one, but I went in, auditioned for this. I didn't even audition for it. They just gave it to me then because of Will. I was friends with Mike Socio. Mike Socio.
Yeah.
He had a relationship, and I got that part in Hitch, and I would have never got it if I couldn't have done Hitch if I got Idiocracy, that movie. So, it's unanswered prayers. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and you didn't know. I was so bummed out at the time, but that's how, God is, and the life turns around, and, another opportunity opens up. It's like, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're going to get, so it's like, just keep moving forward. So I got Hitch, and that was the most exciting thing. And probably, my career was just because, it was all new to me. And I was in New York City with Will on the movie set. I'd never been on, it's like, it was all crazy. And it's like, you talk about how you felt with the sitcom. I was there, and it was just, he was just the biggest movie star in the world at the time. And it was an overwhelming experience for me, man. And to do that movie, he was great. He gave me so many funny things to do, and we were hanging out the whole time, and it was like, became a good friend. He's just a great guy. And it was definitely a time in my life that was like, whoa, this is insane, and very blessed. And then it did great. It was like just watching him. It was insane.
And they had like a 747 on set or something. That was like his dressing room. Was that movie? He had a massive trailer and stuff like that. No. He had a 747 though. When we went to do press for the movie, he flew us all. It was like a private 747. Like, it was massive.
Yeah. And we went all over the globe. And he would tell me everything. He's like, man, whatever you're doing in America, it's like it's 2.5 times overseas. You got to be an international star and this and that. And it's amazing because he's like, and always be mysterious. He would always tell me, like, you got to be mysterious. Don't give them everything away. Let them know you're, and as a movie star, you want to be, they can't find out everything about you, pop in here. And it's so different today. Today's so different. Now it's like everything. Look what he's doing on Instagram. Everybody's putting out everything out. Otherwise, they'll just go, you don't got time to be mysterious. They'll move right by you if, you're too mysterious. So things have changed.
Yeah.
There are no movie stars like that anymore, right?
The paparazzi isn't following you around. You know what I mean? Right? Like,
that's right.
That's not really happening too much anymore. Everything.
Yeah,
you have to do it on your own. You have to put it on social media.
Yes. I mean, I was never a guy with paparazzi anyway, but I think it has slowed down, right? Like, I don't think anybody's doing it anymore because I don't know if it's COVID or it's just it's streaming and Instagram and all the craziness. I don't think the game has changed so much. It's like I don't even recognize it anymore. Really, that's crazy.
And now
you. What do you do?
What?
I don't do anything. What do I do?
What do you mean? What do you do?
I'm saying like I can't even keep up with the social media thing of it all. Like I literally the game changes so every time. It's like a diet. It's like I don't know what to do next. How do you do it?
What do you do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do next? Like what's the next goal for you? Because you've obviously accomplished so many different things. Where do you see yourself, as far as work goes, moving forward here? Like what do we want to do?
Well, I'm doing what I'm doing with these guys here, working on it. It's my own stuff, which is what I did with these guys, the Canadian brothers, when we went to the pandemic and all that stuff. I was at home and, we were all quarantined together, me and these guys, and we just started doing YouTube stuff and putting out, this was just us, just being funny and goofy and putting entertainment out there. And it did really well. It was like a fun, these guys make stuff look amazing. They shoot incredible stuff. So they're funny, they're talented. And it was so much closer to who I am and what I wanted to do, as opposed to these sitcoms and this and that. And so now I'm just working with them. We're just going to start doing our own movies, doing our own thing. And, hopefully it does well enough and it goes on. But you're right. It's like, I didn't even know what the goal is. What is the goal? To do what? For me, just to do work that people appreciate, to connect with people. That's why I love stand-up still, and to be able to do that. But there is no goal as far as you got to get this or that, or if I accomplish that, always enough to keep the fire going, I guess, that for me to get better. But there is no outside goal anymore. Like, I don't know, to be a movie star or to be like, I don't know what it means anymore. It's like, I really don't. I don't know what it's like I said, the target has moved so much with, streaming, services and social media and, what's a celebrity now? It's like, I don't even know anymore. I really am so confused that, I'm just trying to do good stuff and, take a break and, find a groove.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think what you're doing is probably what is the most healthy thing to do. It's not like you have this crazy goal set for yourself. You are every day, starting from the morning till night, just trying to be the best version of yourself. Try to do what you love, surround yourself by good people. And if it ends up taking off to where you make some extra money from something and it blows up, right? Like is that kind of where you're at? Like, listen, if something blows up, that's great. If it doesn't, okay, I'm doing what I like to do, hanging out with people I like to hang out with.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's like my family is centered, like my friends and all that stuff. And we're in that role where, I was always, it's funny because I didn't start out, success driven as far as, I never wanted to be a stand-up. I never wanted a sitcom. I never wanted all the, as you worked and did things, they exposed themselves. They came to fruition, which was amazing. And that's just, I know when I just work hard or do something that I want to do in a way, and I'm doing it right with the right people, good things will happen. It's like, and that's all I want for is just, just to work hard and to work with people I love and love working with. That's it. What else am I gonna do? That's why I love doing movies with Sandler. I love working with him. But I love working with these guys. I love working with, so man, incredibly blessed to be able to work and just do the things that I get to do. You know, I'm very, very blessed. Like I said, you know, it's like that's it. There is no other outside goal. Like, I've got to get this anymore. Like, I don't have that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what that would be. I don't even know what it would be.
I think you're in a great spot. You honestly, listen, you've been a huge inspiration to me. And I think with this podcast, you're going to inspire a lot of people. You're living your life right. You're doing the best you possibly could do every single day. You know, you're not, you're just doing it right. You know, you're working hard and, you know, focused on the family.
Falling all the time. You know that. It's like,
doesn't it?
But it's like picking up. And by the way, I learned from you too, brother. You really are amazing in that way, you know, and that's, I look up to you in that way. It's like, I see you as this kid who's always looking for the greatest way to conquer something, the new thing, whether it be the diet or this or that, or business, or get into this. How do I do it? But it's that special thing about you that you're an amazing guy, man. You're an amazing person. And it's like, and I see you striving to be the best. And that really does inspire me. It always has, you know, and your family's that way. And it's like, it's cool to see. It really is. And that's why, you know, you're going to be successful no matter what you do. That's why I'm saying get out of fighting and go into do whatever.
I
just be safe, man.
I remember you sent me that meme. We'll end on this, but remember you sent me that meme with all the lions. You want to surround yourself with lions. You know what I mean?
Well, you want to surround yourself. Those are the same mission as you.
Mission as you. And I think you do that better than anybody I know. And I think that's a big reason why you have the success you have. And I think it's something that I strive to do. And I think a lot of other people should be striving to do too. Surround yourself with good people. You basically are the equivalent of the people you hang out with, right?
That's right.
And so take a look at the people around you and make better choices if you haven't already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, brother. Have a good day, man. I really I love doing this. It was honestly awesome. It was awesome.
You're awesome, man.
Yeah, this is great, and we'll stay in touch. And remember, if you guys want to hear more conversations like this one I just had with Kevin James, all you have to do is click that follow button on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you do your listening. I'll be back next week with another great guest. But until then, I'm Chris Weidman, and this is Won't Back Down. Thanks for listening.